The TRMP. How do we even start talking about this thing?
History, man. We got to talk about where it was kind of conceptualized.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting because Travis had already started a really good magazine pouch design. So meanwhile, I'm over in the military and I can't find a really good pouch that's working with our systems, our Cry AVSs and our Cry JPCs. There's just a lot of gap there, and you can kind of mix and match pouches, but you always end up with something that's fatter, and it's not easy to doff and don, and if you want to put on a chest rig, that's just a no-go. So I called Travis, and I'm like, hey, can we get something that works with your MP2s that can mount to a Cry AVS system? And this is kind of where he takes it off from here.
Yeah, Mike texts me, calls me, and we start chatting and saying, yeah, we're already working on that, and because we're getting ready for the launch of our Thorax Plate Carrier. And of course, that triple rifle mag placard, we wanted to have as an option as well as our micro chest rigs and all the other stuff. And so I said, yeah, we're already working on it. Here's a picture of this particular one here. And then he kind of stumped me by saying, well, are you doing it for Cry too? And I was like, well, we had talked about it, but it wasn't a priority at the time. But then I realized that's maybe not the right school of thought, because how many guys out there are running, because I even run JVCs
Literally
and stuff.
The entirety of SOCOM.
Everybody. So we said, well, hey, these guys have that requirement. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I'm entertained now. Let's do this. And then he said, well, do you also have elastic on the front? And I was like, no, we don't. It was just basically our single rifle mag pouches that you guys can see on our website for our belts, and just tripled up. So we ended up putting the heavy woven elastic on there so that we can hold a bunch of different stuff, and we'll go through some things there. But the magazines themselves, 5.56 mags, AK mags, you name it. The MP2, the injection molded insert that's inside of it, is what allows the flexibility of pretty much any magazine you want, except for a 417 mag, which not many people are running anyways, and we're working on that problem anyways at this point.
What's good for me, in my opinion, about this is, of course, it allows for re-indexing of mags, which is a big deal. Most of your mag pouches that are currently out there that you can run on the AVS, or even on many plate carriers out there, it's very difficult to do so. And I think managing of that ammunition is something that's incredibly important, and is something that a lot of people kind of overlook when they're choosing a magazine pouch.
Yeah, we've got friends that have been shot and put in wheelchairs and killed because they could not index a magazine. Paul Garner, he's like the most famous story in the industry. If you look up him and his story, it was a retention issue. It was the way he was taught to do something. So we want to instill not just a good product, but a good mindset and how we utilize this mindset. And again, that's what the injection molded MP2s do, which easily come out of the bottom with a extruded hook pouch. So you can run it low profile. So some guys will just do that and Velcro that back in there and run the mag in. So now it's much less of a profile from the side. For low vis operations, you may not get that same kind of in and out retention and fast access, but still great nonetheless. And then you can put radios and other stuff in there and all that.
It can fit quite a bit. My favorite part, of course, when it comes to these pouches are the elastic at the front, because it allows for a lot of flexibility. So there's been a lot of revisions, I think, when it comes to the elastic that we put on these. So right here we have my JPC that I use at work. And we have this configured in a lot of different ways. But my favorite thing about it is, if you want to pop that mag into the front there, this placard, and what was really important to me is sometimes you're pretty loaded down with gear, and it can be hard to plus up to a combat loadout of 7 total mags. So with this placard, we can immediately get 6 mags on our carrier plus 1 in the gun. And that is, to me, really important. Now, beyond that, depending on your mission profiles and your mission sets, you can, of course, configure everything a little bit differently. Now, for the outboard elastics, they are opened at the bottom. Now, a lot of people are typically really confused about that, and that came from a lot of feedback from SOCOM, whether it be from the Air Force Special Warfare community or from the Naval Special Warfare community. We had a lot of really great end-user feedback on why they wanted that. And Travis, I'll let you kind of take that stuff away, because this stuff is outside of my realm right here.
Yeah, it's because the Air Force, typically they're going to put much different things in theirs that aren't really mission essential. I don't know why they do some of these things, but
yeah, Skittles.
Because they're not allowed to play with explosives or radios or any of that stuff.
No, we don't want to. It's kind of dangerous.
No, but speaking of explosives, like in all the communities, there's going to be breachers in most every team, right? So as far as your shock tube or no nail or whatever you guys are running there, to fit in through this pass-through heavy woven elastic, so you can pre-stage your charges and even can bind that into your hangers or whatever else you're running there. You can even put like a Pandora's box in the center, so if you wanted to use that, you could put your Qualtex and stuff inside of the other pass-through. So for breaching, it really does offer a lot of stuff if you need it. And if you don't need it, it's not there, right? That's the great thing about that heavy woven elastic front. Of course, all the little, this, what is this? Is this yours?
What is this?
Right in the rain? Right in the rain for ants?
It's the tiniest right in the rain ever. You can.
I'm over 40 now, man. This is
not going to work. So the point is a lot of different things. So when I was going through several of our different schools we go to in the military, one thing that I did was I would run my pens through these pouches right here, and I'd actually duct tape them together with a small piece of paracord, which you can see right here. And then that way I could easily pull those markers out, write on my maps. Having that stuff accessible, it sounds stupid, and people are like, when are you going to need pens? But especially for map work and stuff, or for the different types of things that you need to do in the military, incredibly important.
Well, if you spent any bit of time in the field and working specifically at night with things, working with pens and pencils and compasses and navigation systems and communications and EUDs, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, you will find little tricks of the trade to be able to retain that stuff. Something as simple as that pen, because you lose your pen, how does that work as a JTAC or as a comm guy or as a tactical commander? You need to have the ability to write, or in law enforcement as well. So yeah, it's a system that does a lot. And so I think with the TRMP, not only can you stack it up on mags, stack it up with breaching equipment, a lot of the JTACs are running this in the U.S. military and SOCOM right now, because of what it allows them to do. A lot of the pararescue guys are running this now because they love to be able to work on somebody and stuff a nasal in or stuff some bandage in real quick and then come right back and easy access it. So that's been great for them. So it's got a lot of, from a simple concept for us running mags and a couple of little trinkets in here has turned into a pretty big project.
And I think that's kind of the main thing we want to express to you is that when it comes to this, there is a lot of flexibility depending on what you do, what your mission set is. You're allowed to put whatever you want in there, whatever's going to fit. And so that allows for a lot more than your purpose-built pouches, which is why I'm a big fan of having this elastic out front on our pouches right here. So again, sky's the limit. I think it's a awesome concept. And I think what we did at the open pouches sounds stupid, but man, it allows you to fit so much in there.
And not have the bulk and the weight of everything else. So, and again, looking at these, why I think we started out with Mike and I talking about how the hell do we talk about this is because it is pretty complex, even though it's not, right? So that's the thing is like, well, we designed the Thorax in other systems. We got the difference between this and this. Well, the Thorax uses a vertical QASM system, right? So that's where we have the vertical, side release buckles that clip up into the Thorax or a Mayflower Velocity Systems, Peroz Designs, Faro Concepts, Preparedness, like anybody where you can get a front buckle system like this, you can plug this version right into. Well, the Cry is a little bit different. It doesn't have the ability to hang off of a vertical QASM system, so it's got the standard Cry 4 finger tabs that go down between this 1-inch molly right here going across, and that's how it secures nice and flush down to the carrier. And you still open it up like usual to be able to put in your side. Or if you have a side release system like First Spear tubes or some Austrian Alpine buckles or Cobra buckles or something on the side, it still works just fine with that. You'll notice also that, again, the complexity of this as we continue to move forward here, not only is it a plate placard, we have these 4 1-inch tabs on the side of the TRMP so that you can, of course, yes, turn it into a chest rig. So this is the most simple version of the chest rig.
So if you're looking for a really minimalist design for whatever reason, you can, of course, just stick with just the TRMP, and it is a small little rig. So there's certainly an application there, and this will allow you to do it.
Yeah, great go rig. And again, you can expand it with medical equipment, tourniquets, and other stuff that you need on the front with a little hanger like this. You can go a long ways as a great little vehicle rig, or a lot of our guys here will take this system and kind of wrap it up and put it inside of a flat pack or inside of a little go bag in their car, and boom, you got a little micro chest rig system.
So we've talked about this chest rig. Let's talk about some expansion options that we have for it.
So let's say I want to go a little bit bigger with this, right? I want to add more usability. So we add this auxiliary panel, and basically what we do is just like the TRMP, it has 3 bottom flaps, and you're going to set it over the top, and then we have these polyethylene tabs here, these little black tabs, and you'll see it's pretty self-explanatory. These will actually tuck down inside the triangles of the MP2 cuts. So when it's all done, it seamlessly wraps around very easily. I think it takes about 4 or 5 minutes to mount it up. Then you have a very seamless system. On the side, it's got this elastic, so it allows it to flex in case you're putting LR mags or something in there. You're running FN scars or Mark 17s or PMag 308, whatever you got there. That's why we want that flexibility. So we just took the triple rifle mag pouch and not only use it as a placard, not only can make it a little micro chest rig, but now I can expand its usability. And you can see from here, we've got the RDC with the wave relay radio system on the front of the TRMP system. That way you can have your EUD. And this is obviously the Persistent Systems one. It's just a little bit bigger. You'll basically play Xbox when you're in battle.
That's what you do with it.
But you could also put your standard EUDs down there as well, especially if maybe your vision's hurting a little bit, or you got different parachute systems, different straps, and some guys just like to run their EUDs a little bit lower than higher because they don't like it up against their face.
It gets out of the way of your mags as well, so it can always be a good option for you guys in case you're unsure of moving that thing down. It's hard to get your mags out. Yeah,
that's my biggest issue. That's why I really enjoy running this, not just because my eyes might be getting a little bit more strained as you get older. Never. But because I can get to my mags. Again, life support, both of these are life support systems, but I want to be able to, it's like we've had to exercise and compromise, almost like, well, if I got to put a shotgun here, I got to move my magazine here. It's like, well, okay, which one's more important? They're both very important, but how do we get around that? And we feel like this is the best way to do it with an extremely simple solution that's made out of squadron laminate materials, so it's 1500 denier, so it's really thick, just like the TRMP itself. A little bit of woven elastic and heavy extruded hook, and that's a very simple system. So not only can you put the EUDs on here, your tablet devices on here, you could kick this over to the left or the right and add a couple pouches now if you wanted to. So Mike's going to grab the big boy behind him here.
Here we go.
And you'll see, because obviously we have this very special 1/2-inch MOLLE specification that we use here at Haley Strategic. You know, we're typical MOLLE's 1 inch. Well, why not go 1/2 inch with the ability and technology for laser cutting nowadays to where we can add whatever we want. And of course you can stack them, you can move them up or down a little bit easier. That's why we personally use the 1/2-inch system. And on the back of all of our pouches, whether it's our mag pouches, smoke pouches, flashbang, multi-tool, they also have a 1/2-inch increment on the back for adjustment as well, so that way they really, really tighten up. And you can tell the pouches, when you feel them, they don't move on the body. This is actually an Air Force loadout that we've equipped for the last couple of years now.
Man, you're showing a lot of love to the Air Force recently.
Yeah, we have to, man. You know,
that's the way it goes.
I don't know why, but they've been very proactive with their equipment because of every day the battle space is changing. Our threats are changing constantly. And this is a TRMP chest rig, 3 mags. They wear a low-vis plate carrier underneath, so they put their other 2 mags here, so they have 5 mags on their body, 1 on their belt, 1 on the gun. 40 mic hanger, flashbangs, multi-tool, handgun mag pouches, whatever you want to do with it. Water, and of course a lot of guys will end up putting their radios. These are our new side saddles that are also coming extremely soon, if not maybe already out, depending by the time this video comes out. And the EUD bridge, padded yoke, chest harness, for the new combat flat pack, which you guys will also see. And again, this has been in use with the military for quite some time. So that's what this little guy.
I like how you just tease him a little bit with that.
Was that a tease?
No, it was a tease.
I'm sorry.
That was good.
But it's pretty cool.
Cool.
I can't help but tease it. But it's pretty cool that this thing here can turn into all of this if you need it.
It is a complete system. You can add whatever pouches are necessary to ensure that you can complete your mission.
So I want to talk to you guys about the magazine compatibility and what you could do with the TRMP. So it's just like our single rifle mag pouch. If you guys have seen that or used it, it's the same exact concept with the MP2 and the elastic. So it swells and you don't need bungees, you don't need, you know, all that
weird
crazy,
stuff.
you know, TPU materials and stuff that you see out on the market. It's just a simple system. So if I was to take this mag, if you guys haven't seen this before, this is our injection molded MP2. And when you click it in, it literally clicks in because there's a magazine detent line inside of that MP2 that is ambidextrous. So when you turn it around, same exact thing happens there. Okay, so that's, and again, these are optional. They come out of the actual pouch itself, but it allows you to have, as you can see, Mike's holding up a bunch of different mags there.
And I've been using them in my videos forever as well. So we test out a whole range of weapons, and there's just a very large amount of things that you can exchange in for there. Not just magazines, but also many different objects. That
Yeah, I mean, like a radio. So like, yeah, if I had that MP2, well, here's a great example here. So the MP2 is in these, but not in this one. So I've got a Vortex laser rangefinder in here right now with an LRP or a PMag, 308 mag, and a standard 5.56 mag. So, and of course, PMag, you got a slab
AK
side.
mag, yeah.
That's a freaking Bakelite, which is a pretty good mag, and that you can put 3 AK-47 mags in here.
Obviously, for the new SIG Spear guys, we can fit the Spear mags in there or the Lancer 308s. Those fit no problem. Anything's going to fit. Styrog, it just all
Circle
works.
10.
Circle 10s. Just pretty much any intermediate and a couple different heavies are going to fit in there no problem.
Again, all these come with the bungee tabs. We don't have them on this one. We showed you that earlier. But I can put my Motorolas or Baofeng radios, especially if you guys out there that are milsimmers, airsofters, or that community, or rescue teams. I've seen a lot of guys actually use radios and medical tabs. So we have our SOAR med kits from SOAR Medical, and those guys will fit right in here as well. With the radio, that's a pretty cool little trauma kit you can keep in a bag. And if I don't want to put that in there, well, if you got a phone that's large enough, which when I'm training, I'll typically have my phone in here. So I have the MP2 in it, so I can still stuff that phone in there and I can record right now if I needed to as well. Or I can take the MP2 out and you can see how it kind of flushes out a little bit.
Sick footage for the gram, all that stuff that you want.
So pretty much anything in this similar profile and size will pretty much fit inside the TRMP.
There's a lot more to this product than just this product when it comes to what we talk about. We have right here something that's awesome. It's a great product. It was developed with SOCOM. It was developed with our guys overseas, putting boot to ass, and with our law enforcement guys, and with concerned citizens, with our free citizens. But the question is why? Why are we making all these products? Why do we keep pushing this? And it's because I think increasingly we see ourselves in a crazier world.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about there, Mike, is the fact that, you know, we're not trying to say this is the greatest product in the world. I don't think that's what you're just trying to say. I think what you're trying to say is the heart that went into a product like this, and how many guys right now are still out there overseas wearing this stuff and testing and giving us feedback for over a year before and we always do that with our products. We never just make something and put it out. I mean, damn Thorax was 6 years in the making before we actually put it out. So, you know, I think it's the compassion. You know, I always say the compassion is the number one attribute to a warrior, because the more you care about something, the harder you're obviously going to fight for it. And so I know that goes into that product, you know, when we're developing it, whether we're sitting down and sketching it, talking about it over beers or whatever else, or actually designing it, making it, holding the first one in our hand. It's not because, fuck, we can make money. I don't care.
Who cares?
I really don't. I'll be honest with you. It's truly, from the bottom of my heart, I don't care about money. I care about people, because that's what the world we live in. And so that's huge, and I love that process of us doing this together. You know, I thank you and the whole team for putting that on, and again, sharing that with those, you said free citizens.
Yeah,
you know?
free citizens.
And not just military law enforcement guys. You are in a job where you know what you should have. You know what you should be. You know how you should think, even though there's, of course, a lot of deficiencies, and why we have training companies, why we continue to help. But also your products, your gear that you're wearing on your body. Don't forget that this is carrying life support equipment, and your entire job is life preservation. That's it, right? Not taking a life, because, you know, man's not spelled G-U-N, and we're really trying to get away from that mindset where everybody in this world loves the black gun. They love to shoot, and that's great. We need to have that skill set. We need to have that as a part of our self-reliance, but don't forget about everything else that you need as well.
It's just like what you always talk about, like when we talk about our gunfighting video. There's so much more than just pulling a trigger. There's so much more behind it, and becoming that thinker. I know it's super, you know, it's something you always say, but it's something that's so true, and to really hammer that home, that hey, when we talk about people that we want running our products, we talk about people that we want to be thinkers rather than guys just ready to pull a trigger.
Yeah, it's like you got to stop running to the sound of gunfight, think to the sound of gunfight, and when you ask why, that's because we run a company from the inside out, from right here, from the heart out, and every great company does that. I know you do that, and we'll always continue to develop products in that way, shape, or form, and be able to send them off to you guys, so hopefully you can go out there and protect yourself, your family, your neighbors, your community, your state, your countrymen, and the free world. So thanks for joining us today, guys. We appreciate you. Stay sharp, be safe, and like I've been saying a lot lately, make sure you die free.